Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we spotlight guest Ricardo Coleman from Chicago, Illinois. He grew up as a middle child and enjoys listening to others and observing. On October 10, 2018, Ricardo suffered a massive stroke. Doctors opened his skull and left him on the operating table for almost an hour while the swelling decreased. Today, Ricardo shares observations of his own recovery in his story entitled, After My Stroke, I Believe Anything is Possible. Thank you for joining us for Part 1, Ricardo Coleman's Story. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. This week, we welcome guest Ricardo Coleman from Chicago, Illinois. Ricardo is a father, a husband, a deacon, a baseball league president, and coach. He grew up as a middle child and is most comfortable as an observer. He loves listening to others talk about their experiences. Today, he shares his story entitled, After My Stroke, I Believe Anything is Possible. Before we begin today, we stop, we settle, and we move into a moment of pause, bringing awareness to the breath we breathe, the air that surrounds us and unites. Today we call to mind people in our lives, near and far, that show up as their unique selves and bless us with their quirks, with their talents and gifts. May we offer ourselves, our true selves, to each other as a way to lift each other in our journeys ahead. May we use that air we breathe and the air that surrounds as a way to support and inspire. May we breathe in grace and offer gratitude. And we give thanks. Ricardo, welcome today.
Thank you, Molly. I am here. I'm glad to be here, and I'm ready to share my story. On October 10th, 2018, I had just finished my night shift at the Park Hyatt in Chicago. I headed home to pick up my son and drop him off at the train for school, then returned home and went to sleep. I got in the bed and started crying. I couldn't stop crying. I wondered, why am I crying? My wife called around and noticed I was just crying. She then hung up the phone, and me and my stepson Marcus was in the basement. He walked up to check on me and found out me crying. He seen me right there crying. He asked if it was okay. I just cried. My wife hung up the phone with Marcus and called him and told me to get up and go to the doctor. It was then I realized I couldn't get up. I couldn't move my legs to get out of the bed. I told my wife over the phone that I couldn't move. She hung up and called the ambulance and my brother John. When John arrived 10 minutes later, the ambulance wasn't there. So he called another ambulance, one that was closer at the time of Evergreen Park Station. He kept trying to get me to move. I couldn't. All I could do was cry. When the ambulance arrived, they pulled right up on the grass in front of the house and made their way up the stairs. They asked me to get up. I again insisted. I can't do anything. I can't move. They lifted leverage and fingered my body into a medical chair and then carried me downstairs. They put me on the grass. The last thing I remember is my wife and mom arriving. My wife jumped out of the car and into the ambulance with me. We first arrived at Little Company of Mary, which is not a trauma center, but it was the closest hospital. The waiting room was full of emergency situations and there was no beds available. We waited there for about a half an hour. We kept waiting. Then my wife called a friend whose husband had a stroke, who was a stroke survivor, and asked her where to take me. She urged me, wife, take me to the Rush Hospital, and said, that is the place you want to be if you're having a stroke. She then called a private ambulance to drive me 40 minutes to Rush Hospital on the west side of Chicago. The west side is totally different from the south side. When we arrived there, I was unconscious. 2 doctors told me to wait. The next doctor came out, looked at me, and took me right in. He said, he can't wait for a room. He will die. They wheeled me right into surgery and they cut my skull open. My brain was hemorrhaging and pushed into my skull. They left me lying on the surgery room table for almost an hour until the swelling up went down and then sewed me back up. I was Humpty Dumpty. They had to put me back together again. Last summer, my wife revealed to me that I was gone dead for 8 seconds in the hospital that day. When I think about it, I think first how scared she was, my mom and kids must have been. My mind started spinning. If it weren't for my wife, Narketta, wow. Now I think, what would have happened? What if I was gone? Then I think about the unfolding of the events that day. Then I think about my wife. What if I didn't have my wife? Those thoughts come up every day, usually when I'm by myself. I don't remember much of the hospital, but I was there for 31 days. When the word got out, my friends and family started arriving at the hospital. So many people came. Over 400 people came to visit me, but the hospital staff wouldn't let them in all in. And this was pre-COVID. There was just about too many visitors for a hospital to handle. They put a password on my room. People came from states away. One of my former baseball players, William, said they put him in jail because he was trying to force his way through to see me. 3 of my police officer friends came in uniform, knowing that that was the only way to see me. The hospital thought I was some celebrity, but I was just had a lot of friends and family. When asked, how do you know so many people? I explained, I grew up in the projects. There were a lot of people I looked up to back then. My mom raised me well. Our apartment was different. My mom made sure My three siblings and I ate every day. We ate meat every day. Most of the families around us only ate meat with their dinner once a week. Our apartment was a gathering place for lots of people. I played basketball, but I was really good at baseball. Gangbangers and drug dealers don't mess with you when you're good in sports. I did start coaching and then went from there. I've met so many people over the years. I'm one of those people who speaks with everybody. I make friends easily. My best friend Marvin spent every day in the room with me, even though I wasn't conscious. He would get off work, drive across, and sit in the corner of the room without me. My mom did that too. My wife and kids did a lot of driving from the south side to the west side. They took days off work to be with me. I didn't even know that all these people were rearranging their lives for me. I was still unconscious, but maybe subconsciously I knew. Maybe my spirit knew they were all there pulling for me. God was pulling for me too. Little by little, I started to wake up then 31 days after my stroke. On November 20th, 2018, they finally released me from the hospital. It was a hard day. I had been looking forward to it and finally arrived, but I was scared. I was glad to have my wife with me throughout the transition. My son was at home too. When we first arrived home, it was hard for me to get up the outside stairs. My wife helped me, but I wanted to do it myself. I had to get familiar with the things I could and couldn't do. Most of the time, I sat on the couch. For the next 3 to 4 days, I slept on the couch downstairs and just watched TV. I was glad to be at home because it was very hard for me at the hospital. At home, I was free from the wires, machines, and interruptions from nurses, therapists, and doctors at my side all the time. Everything seemed like an obstacle in the hospital. I was glad to be at home, but I was still hard emotionally and physically. The medical arrangement continued. My first doctor visit after returning home was to the doctor I called the doctor who saved my life, my savior. I walked with my wife limping and off balance. The doctor started to laugh out loud. I was taken back. I asked my wife, why are they laughing at me? So many emotions went through me at that time. Anger, sadness, confusion, overall irritation. The laughter was irritating. They realized I was overwhelmed with emotion and explained why they were laughing at me, but they were laughing and excited. They couldn't believe I was on my feet. They couldn't believe I was still alive. They said, we have never seen a patient so near death look so good. You had a major stroke. We have many patients who don't make it. You did it. This is a gift. My doctor just looked at me. He was smiling, just smiling. So much joy. Not a smile of accomplishment, maybe a smile of disbelief. In a surprised tone, he said, you are a miracle. You are very much a miracle. We tried. We did all we could, and you pulled right through. At that time, I cried. I realized I shouldn't have judged their laughter. When I was in the hospital, I didn't remember the work they did, but after the appointment, it was clear to me that I was in good hands the whole time. They were trying to save my life, and they did. We all were surprised. Our prayers were answered. God was working on the doctors for and me. The first week I returned home, a nurse from rehab showed up at my house for a home visit. She worked me especially on learning to walk up and down the stairs. She had all types of exercise. I had an in-home rehab for the first 2 weeks, and then I went to the outpatient rehab for the next month and a half. This was the roughest and scariest moment of my life besides my stroke. I really had to work hard every day. And the hours I did rehab exercise all on my own. I was very eager to do so, but I had an attitude, and let's just say my behavior wasn't becoming. I went to rehab every day that I was scheduled. My godfather gave me advice when I had my stroke. He said, let the nurses and doctors do their thing and you do your thing. That's all he said to me. He's a man of few words, so I took that to heart. Looking back, I realized he was telling me that I need to strive to do better and get better. I need to do my thing and stop acting like a victim. My thing is doing what I can every day. Before the stroke, I was an athlete. I knew it was the like to want more and work for more. But still, I wasn't making progress. My wife and doctors decided I need to do something else. That's when my doctor set me up with Shirley Ryan Availability Lab. The website says Shirley Ryan Availability Lab is the global leader in physical medicine and rehabilitation for adults and children with the most severe conditions, from traumatic brain and spinal cord stroke, amputation, and cancer-related impairment. When I first got there, I didn't know what to do. I was scared and watched so many patients with all types of brain injury. Some couldn't walk or talk or even identify the person that was bringing them there. When I got there the first week, I spoke to all the teachers and rehab technicians. They really had me going and thinking. They told me that I was going to make it through this. I just had to listen and do what they said. I had transportation to Shirley Ryan, and that's when I met my friend, Calvin. He was also in the hospital for 31 days and also shared his story on the podcast. When Calvin first arrived to Shirley Ryan, he was giving everybody smiles, hellos, thank you, words of wisdom, and Bible quotes. I observed Calvin's mannerisms. He was positively lifting those around him. Just watching him made me smile, made me want to do better and get better. I became friends with Calvin, joining his entourage, as you would say. I wanted to do better, and he kept me going, and all through rehab. Calvin is one of the most sincere people I've ever met. His encouragement boosted the patients, therapists, and the whole program. Calvin is a very godly man. He actually lives the Bible quotes that he shares. That's Calvin. Throughout the rehab, I had many bad days and many good days. Whenever I was at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, it was a good day. When I returned home, my wife and son would greet me. Rehab was really helpful for me. I believe it was God sent. I was in rehab with all types of people. I was scared the future, but I encouraged by them. Their achievements proved me that I could do it. I could do it. The rehab doctor kept saying I was getting better, and I saw progress too. Once a week, a doctor from Rush would arrive and evaluate my process. After 4 weeks of rehab, the doctor told me I was ready to graduate. I was actually a little disappointed. I enjoyed the bus to Shirley Ryan with the 12 other people from my part of town. I enjoyed the other patients in the program and everyone on the staff. We had a sense of camaraderie. I've become a better person since the stroke and since being in rehab. Calvin is still my friend. I keep in touch with him and we share memories of rehab and people we met there. Life is different. I'm back at work, president of my baseball league, and still coaching, but it's hard some days. My balance is still not right. I still get vertigo. My head starts spinning. I can feel that when it's about to come on. Sometimes my memory fails too. I've lost the ability to taste. Many people don't fully understand what I'm going through. People can't understand suffering a stroke in general, but I just remind myself, I am here. I am here. The devil always tries to tell you to be down or guilty or sad. I remind myself that there are people out there who have it much worse than me. Some people are homeless or in their worst medical conditions. I have to remind myself I have a lot to live for. I'm possibly even a better person now. I thank God for every single day and kept me going. This is how I became the person I am. And now I love life now. And no matter what happens, I know God has me and I can get through it. If people tell me I need to share my story, I need to help people. I need to tell people that everyone in life has a situation and we can all get through it. We can do anything we put our minds to when we stay positive. You have to believe you can get through the tough times. You can get better. When I hear people going through hard times, sometimes they doubt and are depressed. I think it's important that they get themselves out of that space. They need a cheerleader. I want to be a cheerleader because I've lived through it. I know it's possible to get to the other side. We all carry heavy loads and we all have experience and skills that can help lighten the loads of others. I see life as a gift now. I know that it's important to share my story with other people. It's important that we all share stories with each other. Maybe the stroke happened for the good. In addition to God, I owe a lot of credit to my doctors, nurses, therapists, and medical professionals. Honestly, I wouldn't have made it through the stroke rehab without my wife, family, and friends. My mom also, she was an instrumental part, and so was my pastor. I've also met a lot of new people through my recovery. They have been my cheerleaders as I am for them. I'm here for anyone listening to my short story on the show. I believe in you. It's tough and possible. I believe in you, and you need to believe in yourself. At some point, you will be sharing your story and helping others believe in themselves too. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you, Ricardo. And now we take a moment of pause. Ricardo talked about his belief that anything is possible. We asked for the courage to believe that we too can work to go beyond, to see beyond, to hope in those moments beyond. May we be cheerleaders for other people, and may we be cheerleaders for ourselves. Today, we look back on our recoveries and we look at ways that we have overcome, ways that we have grown, ways that we see that anything is possible. And we give thanks. Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 1, Ricardo Coleman's story. Stick with us for Part 2, Ricardo Coleman's interview. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode of Beyond Stillness, we heard from guest Ricardo Coleman of Chicago, Illinois. He grew up as a middle child and enjoys listening and observing. On October 10th, 2018, Ricardo suffered a massive stroke. Doctors opened his skull and left him on the operating table for almost an hour while swelling decreased. Today, Ricardo shared observations of his own recovery In his story entitled After My Stroke, I Believe Anything is Possible. Again, thanks for listening, and remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.